false story cooked up by this woman who was then eventually decorated by the government of Haryana for taking on men. So I think we've got to be very careful with the way in which we play out stories. Much more than what we say, it's how we project them. Sorry, long answer to a short question.
Table and dinner table conversations also drift towards media and journalism and news. And how do you maintain the sanity of your or secrecy of your respective TV channels or businesses?
Very profession, bad idea.
And in a rival TV too.
That's right. It is a bad idea to do that. But my own sense is, look, as long as you respect each other's space, it's fine. The good news is we have two kids. One is 23. Our son is 23. He just finished his MBBS and is doing his rural posting, and our daughter is doing law. My only condition to them was, you do whatever you want in life, but don't do journalism. Whatever you want. You become a rickshaw puller, you can be fine, but you're not doing journalism. Kuch aur kar lo. And so I think it's important to have independent spaces where you can do other things. I mean, last year my wife was writing her book on Indira Gandhi, I was writing a book on cricket, and we did it in two separate rooms. All that we would ask each other is, how many words have you finished? Every day. So there's a bit of, like everything else, the world has become very competitive. The media world is especially so. Many anchors on rival channels were once working with me, for me, together, let me put it that way. The moment they leave and join another channel, we become rivals. And it's terrible. Arnab Goswami and I actually went together to watch the 2003 World Cup final. I took my father, my son who was then 7 or 8, Arnab and I, we went to watch the World Cup 2003 final. And we were decent friends, but the moment you join another channel, everything changes, and it's terrible. So whether it's the wife at home or it's friends outside, I think once you're in that same space, it's a small world. The media world is what? At the end of the day, it's, we're almost all in, their entire Noida area has channels virtually next to each other. And you wonder, one day you're in some other channel, next day you're with a channel. So I think we need to get perspective. But I think as people, we end up creating rivalries. And there are terrible rivalries. Everybody wants to be first with the news. And in this obsession with being Usain Bolt in news, we don't care about the truth. We should be right with the news rather than first with the news. And this obsession with being first with the news is destroying us.
So this just further to the same question, how's your relation with Arnab, whom you mentored, or other rival TV anchors?
I don't know. There are certain, am I allowed in certain questions to say no comment or not? I mean,
that's your choice. There's a lot of media here.
Look, there is rivalry. I wish it was healthy rivalry. It's unhealthy now because it's not right. It just doesn't work for me anymore. People plagiarize stories. People tell their story, your story through their words. And it's unfair. I think the world, I see myself as the South Mumbai kid. So when you grew up in South Bombay, it was a nice genteel world, and I still go back to it every now and then. Just because I think the only way to get out of this world is to go back to your school friends, because there, in that little world, nobody cares who you are, what you are, there's a lovely, my favorite serial was a serial called Cheers. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's about a bar in Boston where all these guys hang out in the same place, same thing for the 20 years or 30 years of their adult life. If I had my way, I would go to my club bar and do exactly that. 20, 30 years, because it's the same people, you know each other. It's a more comfortable world. Delhi particularly, being the national capital, is an awful city. It's a city which is seduced by the world of power. It's all about who's powerful. And as I keep telling my fellow journalist friends that, look, journalists are the cockroaches in the system. The butterflies will keep changing. One day Modi will be the butterfly, next day Sonia Gandhi will be the butterfly, third year, no, God knows who will be. Maybe KCR will be a butterfly. Anyone can be a butterfly in 2019. But the journalist must remain the cockroach. And why the cockroach? Because when there's a nuclear blast, and the world is finished, The one insect that will survive is the cockroach, because the next morning the cockroach has to report कि कल nuclear blast हुआ था. So that's the role of the journalist, right? But because the cockroach has become the butterfly or sees himself as the butterfly, we have become part of this power game and we've been seduced by power. And once you're seduced by power, then the healthy relationships get destroyed. You know, we all want to show our importance. And, you know, frankly, it's pretty pathetic according to me.
Very well said and very diplomatic. Sharing your experiences, what is the motivation behind it?
I think writing a book
You have
is...
3 bestsellers.
No, writing books is great. But let me tell you a story. In 92-93, the Mumbai blasts and riots took place. 25 years this month were the blasts in Mumbai. RDX, Dawood Ibrahim, Sanjay Dutt, all that happened 25 years ago this month. I was a young journalist in print, heading the Times of India's city news in Mumbai. And it was the most traumatic 3 months of our lives, starting with those riots and then the blast. Nothing has been as traumatic for me. I remember the day the blast took place. That night, we went and drank at Leopold's because we just couldn't believe what had happened around us. There was no TV camera, no breaking news, nothing. We just had to report the story. So at the end of our drinking session, we said we must put all this in a book because, you know, the next generation must know what happened in Mumbai. So we worked very hard for 3 months, brought out a book called When Bombay Burned. But because we were unknown journalists, no one read it. The book is still available somewhere. I think it's even out of stock, that also. But nobody read the book. Then 20 years later, I wrote a book on the elections. 2014, the election that changed India. It's gone into 8 languages, several reprints. And my name was larger than the book title, because the book was being sold on the fact that a television celebrity anchor is writing it. And people read it. Last year I wrote my book on cricket on democracy's level, but that was partly to get over my anguish of why can't cricket run in the blood. So stronger punishments to those who use religion, caste, any identity to divide people at election time. There must be a way that there must be those who use hate speech. Let me clarify, hate speech. Any form of hate speech, put the person in jail. All those who should be put in jail. You cannot allow hate speech as a political weapon in this country. These are 2 reforms. The third, I don't know, these 2 stand out for me as 2 things that you must do. Control money power, control hate speech at election time.
And the third, probably control what the media shows.
No, when I was president of the Editors Guild, I worked with the Election Commission closely on paid news. Because a lot of newspapers, why Hindi, all newspapers were putting out news stories based on what a politician had paid them for. They were actually paid news. And when we found out, one leading Hindi newspaper on the same, that's how we found out, on the same page had said this candidate is winning and his rival was also winning as per another story in the same paper. And we found out that both those candidates had paid that newspaper. So then we went into the issue of paid news. We brought in certain rules in place and there have been some attempts made to control it. But it's a cancer. Paid news is a cancer. It spreads at election time. In the next 1 year, every regional news channel will increase their budgets because they will make money from all these Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and national elections. It's a triple bonanza for all the Telugu news channels next year. They will make money from all the candidates. And that's terrible. That's not what news channels should be doing.
So the next question, should politicians be restricted to only 2 terms? Should there be a compulsory retirement age for them and some basic educational qualifications for politicians?
I don't agree. Some of the most corrupt politicians in the country have been the most highly educated and so corruption has nothing to do with education. It's a myth that you have to have, and it's unfair on millions of Indians that you're going to introduce an education qualification. I don't think that's right. It will affect women in particular in places like Haryana where you have Panchayat, 33% reservation. They'll remove the women first by saying, "Tumhara education qualification nahi hai." So education, bad idea. The other ideas you said was having 2 terms, retirement, all bad ideas. And if someone at 80 wants to be a good politician, good luck. It's like our cricket board. They've made a damn mess. This Lodha committee is a complete mess. Cricketers, they've said that Sharad Pawar, those above 70 cannot be board official. Actually, Sharad Pawar is a damn good cricket official. But he's above 70, so he cannot be. So I think these are not fixes. The real problem that needs to be fixed is money. How do I make funding transparent? Once that happens, you will find younger, better people entering politics. And it's only when younger, better people enter politics will the standards improve. Otherwise, I think 33% reservation at panchayat level for women was great. Initially, a lot of panchpatis came in where the man controlled the woman and the woman was put only as a proxy candidate, but that's changing. Once you give women power, right, they know how to use it also. So men are realizing that to their cost in many panchayats across the country. So I think you need that. I think I'm a full supporter of 33% reservation for women in parliament. Maybe I exaggerated by saying 66, but I think 33 should be there. I think at the moment less than 10% of women are parliamentarian, around 10 or 12%. That's crazy. The biggest vote bank is women. And I think Modi is a clever politician. He's realized that. A lot of his schemes, particularly for rural women, is where he reaches out. You will find in the next elections, maybe Modi's vote among women will be higher than among men. Nitish Kumar has realized that in Bihar, Mamta in Bengal, the clever politician, the mass politicians realize there is a vote bank called women. And I'm sorry to use the word vote bank, but it is a vote bank. Women need their concerns to be addressed. And I think if you address those concerns, you'll have a vote bank there.
Thank you. To end with, we have a rapid fire round for you. Okay. Who according to you is the most savvy? I'll take the names and you just name, you have no time to think. Who according to you is the most media savvy? First, politician.
You're going to give me names?
Yeah, you have to give me names.
Oh, I have to give you names of who I think are the most media savvy
politician.
Look, the most media savvy politician, let me give you two names, just to show how you can be in both sides. Narendra Modi and Lalu Yadav.
Thank you. Business personality.
Most media savvy business personality. I must confess,
we've got Rajdeep in a spot.
No, I'm worried about, naming names now. No, the media savvy business one, Rahul Bajaj.
Okay, socialite.
Socialite. I don't know socialites. Who is a socialite? I don't like this word socialite. It conveys a negative sense. What is a socialite? Yeah, this is terrible. I refuse to answer that question.
Sports person.
Most media savvy sports person? Most media savvy sports person? Saurav Ganguly. He knows how to play with the camera. Though my favorite sports person, if you ask me, is Rahul Dravid.
Thank you. Celeb as an actor.
Celeb as an actor. Media savvy. Media savvy celeb as an actor, Ranveer Singh. He is brilliant in front of the camera. And Shah Rukh. Shah Rukh Khan is by far the cleverest of the Khans.
Okay, and the actress.
Media savvy actress. I don't know. Now you're going to, you see, when you ask media savvy, then I'm not thinking of my favorite actress.
Media friendly.
Media friendly, okay. Priyanka Chopra.
Thank you. And that's it. Thank you, Rajdeep. It's wonderful interviewing you. And you have answered all the questions and in your speech. You've given us sensational news which can give
Where's my hamper and all that current hamper and all that?
We do have hampers for you which you'll get after answering some questions from the media. So, the audience. So we have 3 quick questions for the audience.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Anju.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Recently, the World Happiness Index came out, and unfortunately, out of 156 countries, India scored very low, 133. My personal feeling is that a lot of, you shared a lot of the same sentiments. Media is promoting a lot of the negativity, around us. And I personally don't like to even watch the news, listen to the news. I feel that you can live your life either with love and abundance or fear and doubt. And I feel the news makes you fear and doubt everything. And it makes me lose kind of faith in humanity. What do you think can change, other than you said, you know, like a privatization of kind of a philanthropic thing with the news? But if we as a country, because the entire world, I grew up in the States, they see India as the biggest potential, even sometimes even more than China. But in terms of education, with the news, I mean, we are kind of adding to the negativity rather than, you know, harnessing the potential that is there with things that you mentioned like polarization. So what can be a solution that is actually workable without contributing 10 crores? What is another solution that we can do? You know, not everybody has such a deep pocket.
Look, I know one of my dreams is to have a good news today channel. A channel that promotes good news, all the good things that are happening around. Now, nobody's going to, again, you'll have to pay 10 crores. You see,
that's okay if it's going to promote, you know, belief in humanity.
No, so it might come on digital. It might, the digital age might allow a good news channel where we can spend much lesser, but we can still promote it. But look, I think it is, forget corporate philanthropy for media. Where is the philanthropy in general to promote what you said, which is happiness? In an abstract form using, right? We put money, or at least the earlier corporates would put money into building more temples, into, you know, or into sort of IPL teams. I think we should have a way in which CSR is linked to the idea of promoting happiness.
Not just happiness, but just promoting good things in humanity.
Yeah, so
compassion,
why not?
Service.
So why can't street children, for example, street children have some kind of a system, you know, on a scale, a scaled up system where street children are provided the kind of education and health facilities that they desperately need to have equal opportunity. The reason why we are not high in that happiness, forget this word happiness, that's a word which Sri will use, right? The word I will use is equal opportunity. To my mind, there is only one challenge before government, which is equal opportunity. And that is linked to two things, health and education. Now, either the government does it, or guys like you do it. Or women like you do it. Right? You got to do it. Now, we can do it on a small scale, you can scale it up. But I believe we should be able to do that. This generation, if you don't do it, who's going to do it? Right? We are the generation which finally is in a position to take India to that level. Maybe the earlier generation was in a socialistic India, didn't have the monies to do it. But why not today? Right? Why can't we invest big ticket in education in schools? Come together. The top, you don't want to support a media channel, don't. You should. Spend that 10 crores, 100 of you, in just scaling up education and health. Just do it. Fantastic. Do it. Do it and spread it even more and get 100 more people to do it. And trust me, we'll be damn good in happiness in the next 10 years from now.
Can I take a question? This is a politician's mind. You know people very well. What is your take on Shashi Tharoor?
On record, off record?
Because when you just mentioned that some politicians, when they praise the other party, they come in for a lot of flack, and Shashi Tharoor was up. Have you interviewed him, and what is your analysis of him?
No, I just interviewed him on his book, and let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a fact. Shashi Tharoor and I went to the same school in Mumbai. We're both from Campion in Mumbai. Now, my English is very different to his. So, you don't have to go to the same school and have the same accent and the same English, right? I mean, I believe in learning, I believe in keeping short words. He believes in elongating those same words, right? So that's one difference. But look, I think it's interesting, having said that, someone like Shashi Tharoor has entered public life. I think it's great, because I think it's good that someone from South Mumbai, Campion School, has stepped into the world of politics, has stood his own, won 2 Lok Sabha elections, not come through the Rajya Sabha route, which is based on connections and networks, not on mass appeal. And I find in a lot of middle class gatherings, Shashi and I did a book thing together. Shashi is very well regarded. And I think if the Congress wanted to reach out to urban middle class, Shashi Tharoor, not as Prime Minister, but as someone who can, I think he's an extremely intelligent man with He speaks well, he writes well, he's got genuinely strong thoughts. He's got one weakness. That's it. But, sorry? Ma'am, that's for you. That's for you to decide, not for me. I will tell him that.